Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Coffee Conversations 3 Shakti series powered by the Emerging India Forum and our tech partner Prime Infotech Solution. I am Jolly Singh, your co-host at Coffee and associate at Prime Infotech Solution. Today we have with us Rajshree, a simple, hardworking individual who is compassionate towards people and passionate about her work. Best known for her Midas touch and strong business acumen, any organization she joins touches gold and thrives beyond leaps and bounds. Rajshri embarked on her professional journey with Deloitte and Touche, and today, as the director at payments company, she continues to exemplify her dedication and drive for success. Her strong belief system and upbringing from an integral part of her identity, providing her with a sense of purpose and grounding. This balance of professional acumen and personal devotion makes Rajshri a multifaceted individual and overachiever in all facets of life, and we wish her the best for the very bright future ahead. A very warm welcome to you, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us today. On
Thank
this
you. Thank you,
episode,
Jolly.
On this episode of Coffee Conversation, ma'am, we have three segments spanning across your professional and personal life. And lastly, we will try wrapping up the entire conversation with a very fun rapid fire round. So let's get started
Hmm.
with the very first segment, which is the professional round question. And my very first question to you would be that could you share some of the key experiences or challenges you have faced during your transition from an analyst to a director of the company?
Yeah. So first of all, thank you so much, Jolly, for having me here, and the entire Coffee Conversation team for inviting me over. And it's a privilege and an honor to share the experiences so that it helps the people who really, really require it, especially at the start of their career. So one thing that has always stayed with me, and it definitely comes from my upbringing, is be very, very honest with your job or with whatever you're doing in your entire day-to-day activities. So that was one of the key learning or key trait that has stayed with me. And when I was transitioning or growing in my career and career path, that is one thing that has completely stood out, and people genuinely feel that it's not just that it's you just know it for the sake of knowing it, but people actually know that this girl is honest, this girl is smart, and she's really, really sincere on whatever she's putting her efforts into. Few key experiences or challenges, as I said, that I was honest, so people saw that passion and hunger for learning in me when I was starting out. So that is the whole reason the transition also happened very, very fast. I remember I got promoted in the first year itself at Deloitte, and the usual tenure is more than 2 years. Again, I was never shy away from in a learning that was not even in my field. So I remember my first ever project at Deloitte was at a very, very senior level, and I had to deal directly with the PMOs, based out of US, and had to convince them that this is my thinking and it is right because this is what we have decided. So these are the things that have really, really helped me grow exponentially. Also, I chose a very unconventional path. After Deloitte, if you start your career from Deloitte, Tushin Tomatsu, it's like it's already heaven for employees. They are known for their, best world class policies for their employees, very, very employee friendly company, and very nice people, very humble. You get to learn from them, from their attitude. Another thing that, after enjoying my career at Deloitte, I was, we started feeling in the initial stage of career that, we've almost retired. It was so good. So I had to then, remind myself to choose an unconventional path if I have to be high on learning. So at the start of your career, you can't be on the low learning curve. So you have to be high on learning, high on performance, high on, the hunger side for learning new things. So rather than going with Novartis and Franklin Templeton, from where I had the counter offers, I chose to go with a midterm firm, wherein my learning curve was far more ahead than I could learn at Deloitte because I was already settled over there. I proved myself, I performed, and I was already settled by the third year at Deloitte. So this was, one of, that's how you mold your career journey basically. And I was very, very hungry to start something on my own, like, learn things from zero. So, these are the things that helped me shape my career. And this transition from an analyst to director of a company happened only because of this.
Okay, ma'am. What strategies did you employ to maintain a balance between your dedication to perfection and the fast paced nature of the fintech and payment services industry?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, yes, definitely perfection is a, catch-22 situation. It's a double-edged sword. If you are too much into perfectionism, you might lose on the timelines, and efficiency can go for a toss because then you become finicky about it. So that is when you have to realize that this is where I have to balance between the time of delivery of any project and do it in the smartest way possible. So here the fine trait of knowing the difference between hard work and smart work comes into picture. And as I said, be honest with whatever you're doing. And third here was the research. So I'll tell you that when I joined in my, in my career journeys, whenever I joined any company, I was new to that industry and to that domain. I did not know anything about that domain, but cut to in 1.5 months of staying with that company and in that domain, I could publish the newsletters by my own. So this is where I learned that, you have to be fast or you don't exist. And the quality of work also cannot take a toss. So that's how, basically the research, employing the right kind of research, again, not going the conventional method that whatever has been taught to you. How smart are you thinking in any given situation, in any given day? It's not just the appraisal year, but every situation that you are put into. And I just want to highlight that I was all, because I chose the unconventional path, I was always in challenging situations. Like, I'll just give an example very briefly. In 2013, when I joined this, financial and web analytics advisory service as the subject matter expert and the consultant, I was given a project on ClickView. I did not have any knowledge on ClickView, neither my team had any knowledge, and we were only three people, along with me. So I automated a lot of things. I ensured that the resource planning is put into place properly, and there was no guidance to us from the managers above and from the client side as well. So I still remember I used to sit at office till 2 a.m. because only I had the access to the confidential servers to get the right kind of data at the right time, because it was a US company and I had to align my timelines. So initial phases, you have to really invest yourself. That time you can't say that this is not my time and I'll not do this. And I remember it was Diwali time. We were supposed to, complete the project in 3 months, and then they preponed the timeline as well, which was just round the corner at Diwali. So literally it was a mess that, we can only imagine, but we still delivered the project ahead of the timeline with 100% accuracy, because we were thinking smart every day, and we were never shy of, doing the things beyond our core responsibilities, hungry for learning. So that's how, this going beyond unconventional methods has helped me.
Absolutely, ma'am. As someone who loves challenges, can you describe a particularly challenging situation you encountered in your career and how did you overcome it?
Yes. So one of it I just explained, and another one very recently in my current organization, as the head of the Department of International Expansion in my current organization. This was the foundation year. So, foundation year meaning we do not know that, apart from the vision and objective, we really do not know any building blocks and anything. So, it was me who had to put the right kind of building blocks and structure. I basically penetrated in an African country without having the product and a local presence in just 2 months. So imagine, without visiting the foreign land, I had the invitation letter from the president's office to invite me to come for the presentation. And after listening to the presentation, he said that you are everything that we want. Now, how did this happen? Again, the research, as I said, not the conventional methodology of research. I connected myself with the common man's problem in the country. I associated myself to them. I tried and analyzed that what is it that they are facing, what is it that the government wants to achieve. So I aligned the government objectives with the needs of the common people, and that is the whole reason. Without even visiting the foreign land, I got the invitation directly from the president's office, inviting me over, and he said, "Bang on this!" Like, this was the storytelling again. My storytelling had the right kind of impact because it came from the right kind of research. And as I said, you really have to invest yourself. If you're honest, you will not think of the timelines or the limitations. If you're honest, if you're passionate, limitations do not become excuses. They become your motivation points.
Absolutely, ma'am. Also, you have worked in both corporate and startup environments. So, what are the key differences you have observed, and how do you adapt to these two very different work cultures?
Absolutely, absolutely. So, as we all know that startup environments are extremely dynamic. Corporates work in a structured manner. They are more process oriented. There is a particular hierarchy that you need to follow. So again, if you try and understand the culture of each and every organization, even at corporate level, if Deloitte has a certain culture, E&Y will have a different kind of a corporate culture. So that differs. It's how you adapt to these circumstances. Again, I was not expecting anything from them. That after Deloitte, I joined a very, very mediocre kind of organization in terms of size and scale, not in terms of learning curve. But the culture was totally different. It was like I quickly, it was like I landed in a very different world from where I was at the start of my career. Even the velocity was very, very different. So these are the differences that help you zone out. Also, how are you maneuvering your ways, and how are you carving your path from these environments. So and you have to understand that both are in that structure because it's the phase of their corporate life, or the phase of the company life. So it's that stage in that particular organization which you really have to understand without expectations, and then this adapting becomes very, very easy. Another difference that I observed in the work culture, apart from hierarchy and process orientation, was that the way of working is very, very different. Startups are only focused on the result. They hardly care about the micromanagement aspect or things like that, which happens in due course of time with each organization. But in the initial phases, startups are like completely focused on result, and it has to happen fast. So if you're not agile, you do not exist. Whereas in corporate setups, they give you right kind of learning curve, that 6 months honeymoon period, you learn things. Whereas in the startup, you have to perform from day one. So this is a major, major culture difference. And if you're a performer, you perform everywhere. If you find excuses in any given situation, then the excuses will fall short. So these are few things that I've observed and accordingly adapted.
Very rightly said, ma'am. In your journey from an MBA graduate to a director, what were the most valuable lessons you learned about the leadership and management?
Yeah, and this actually, comes from my upbringing as well. It's the respect, the respect that you give to people, even if you're not working with them, even if they are not at the same hierarchy as you. It's the way you treat people that leaves behind a mark. And, that's when you start, understanding that you are creating a legacy. You are a brand in making. So I always used to say that I'm my own brand. I will work in a certain fashion, not because you are asking me to do it, but it's my way of working. So that's my style of working. I'm very ethical towards my job. Values really drive me, and that's what I also check in any organization that I join. So this were few lessons. Again, this is something that I learned at Deloitte: the humility, the humbleness of people, of the top shots at Deloitte. They are, even if they have achieved so much in their life, they will come to you and ask, how are you doing? Your parents must be very proud of you. So these are the lessons that now, even when the teams are working, for me, we take care of them in a manner that this goes beyond a professional dynamics. So being a leader, you really have to lead by example. You just can't say that you have to work, I take the credit and we move on. That happens unfortunately a lot still. But if you kind of ask me what is it that stands out in the leadership and managing people, it's like you have to know your people, then only you can manage them. You have to know their expectations from this particular kind of role. Most of the times I used to mentor them that this is not just 9 to 5 job, this is how you're creating your entire career. And I remember one of the girls in one of my organization was supposed to be given a performance improvement plan. My skip level was very very hell bent on putting her on PIP, and I said that I will not put her on PIP unless I worked on her. So give me like 3 4 months. And you won't believe, in 6 months she won the best employee of the floor award in less than 6 months. So you really have to commit yourself to people. I also say that I'm very compassionate towards people and passionate towards my work. So I think these are the things that this happens now subconsciously to me. I don't think myself as somebody who's above them. I try and come to their level, understand their pain points. If I can help them, then I help them from the way out in that particular situation, and we both learn together. So it's like, for me, I'm still learning.
Ma'am, you being the director of a payment services company, could you share some upcoming trends or innovations in the payment services sector that you find exciting and promising?
Yeah, especially on the payments arena, there is a lot that's happening internationally. And there are a lot of payment products that are in demand, and you will be surprised that most of them India is leading the charts. So there are like lot of products like buy now pay later. That's a very simple product for us. Then people sometimes ask me what is the difference between a credit card and a buy now pay later, and I have to explain them. But these products, they are ruling the charts internationally. People are so excited to know about them. And for them, finance and payments, it's not just enabling the online payments. It's also about lending, it's also about wallets, it's also about remittances, the cross border payments, buy now pay later. And there are so many variants in the products industry. And again, we have to fine tune it basis the market requirement. So this is where you really have to work hard on knowing what is it that that particular country and that particular market demands. Even in India, we have like almost 25 countries in India, so the diversity itself is the beauty. And here the product demand is very very different, and it becomes sometimes region specific as well. So that's how you have to fine tune on managing the upcoming trends, as well as fulfilling the payment requirements or the product requirements in that particular region.
Okay, ma'am. Also, how do you manage to stay motivated and dedicated in your career? And what advice would you give to the young professionals looking to excel in the finance and payment sector, giving the trends that coming and going as of now? The industry is quite dynamic as of now.
Yes, yes. And I genuinely see a lot of people, losing their path, losing the motivation, losing, the sight of doing things as well in their day to day job. So, first is be aware that why are you in that particular job and what is expected out of you. Second, I keep on saying is honesty. If you're honest towards your job, then you really do not think at it as, a 9 to 5 job. So, most of my interviews I've said that I'm answerable to my own soul, and just don't say it for the sake of saying it. But sometimes it just doesn't come to me. If I can make any limitation my excuse that, oh, this is not happening, I'll not do it, this is not what you hired me for. So I try and learn, I try and come out of that situation. Trust me, there are a lot of situations that were completely, it was against all odds. Nobody could have performed in that given situation. But if you do it every day with honesty, motivation becomes a byproduct of it. And as I said, not just blindly being motivated, but you have to have a sight of things, that why are you in that situation, why are you doing that, what is it that you want to achieve. And this is what I've guided to my people as well. that, if you achieve this kind of a learning, or if you achieve a certain level, it is not just a promotion, but it is, you are giving a direction to your career. Are you aware? Do you know what you're doing and why are you doing it? So these are the things that, so now this motivation is almost a subconscious factor in me. Dedication and perseverance has, again, because I have been in the grind for almost 13 years, so it does come into picture. Sometimes you do feel, completely, blank out as well, but you know that there is a way out and you will come out of the situation, and that's how we try and, sort of conquer the war, or you win against all odds.
Ma'am, you have already shared with us some of the few projects or the challenges you like
Yes.
really enjoyed working on and everything. But is there any particular accomplishment for you that you would are very particularly proud of and in your career, and why does it
Sure.
stand out for you apart from all the challenges that you have faced for?
Yes, absolutely. So very recent, as I said, that I penetrated the foreign land even without visiting there, and directly, this is very sensitive, and it's not easy accomplishment. This is like a dream deal that comes in somebody's career very, very rarely. So it's not something that only, like everybody can achieve it, but it happens very rarely in anybody's career. And God has been kind. I was lucky also, but joining hands with the government changes the entire narrative of the organization. It's like the organization was supposed to grow at a certain speed, now it is growing at 100 and 1000x speed. So you have completely changed the narrative, and that too when you did not have any local presence. So it's like, in India there is a company that is coming, let's suppose, from Europe, and that company is directly joining hands with the Indian government for fulfilling all their payment requirements. Imagine that kind of achievement is almost impossible, and I literally thank God for, guiding me at the right places, and penetrating that market in less than 2 months was, it's like a dream deal. And I just did not stop over there, because this activation or this partnership was directly with the government. We could activate another 4 countries in less than 4 months. So you see, the multiplying effect is 1000x. It's not just a normal deal that you have cracked, but it's the entire narrative of partnerships and global expansion and global strategy that has changed. So you have put the organization from here to here directly in one shot. So that is, again, a very, very a certain activity that will always stay with me. Again, I am still learning and I'll continue to do so. So may God be kind and I keep on achieving such projects or accomplishments. But there is one more thing that I wanted to say, that whenever I joined any particular industry, like I remember in 2017 I had an offer from Infosys and from a startup, but I chose to go with that startup because I wanted to learn everything from zero. And you won't believe, in less than 3 months I acquired a company in less than 20 crores. It was very new for me. Never in my career have I ever acquired a company by myself. And in less than 2 years, that company's standalone AUM was more than 1,000 crores. So that is also another accomplishment that will stay close to my heart. Again, why was this possible? Because I was doing the right things at the right time. I understood the pain points. I had the vision that why this needs to be achieved. What is it that we are trying to achieve apart from numbers by penetrating or expanding or acquiring this company? And what is the return on investment or return on equity that we are gaining from this? So these are few accomplishments in my, overall journey that will keep on motivating me further as well.
That is really commendable, like absolutely commendable, ma'am. So what are your future aspirations and goal in your current role as a director? You said God may be kind and it will be kinder. But what 5 years down the lane, what do you see yourself doing in your
Yeah,
industry?
so yes, thank you. Thank you for asking that question. So, more or less, in 13 years, again, as I said, because of this, exponential growth and good building blocks, I feel like I've accomplished few things. I'm at a certain stage wherein I can sort of do something on my own. And this is my aspiration and goal that, in my personal capacity, if this is the skill that I'm gifted with on connecting with people, without any hidden motives, then why not expand it to the existing arena of things that I'm doing? So again, God has been very kind, and that's what I'm trying to do in, connecting with people, managing people across the domains now. So now I'm no more limited to one particular industry or domain, but I'm in touch with the right kind of people. And that, some of the credit also, not some of it, most of the credit goes to the spiritual prowess that God has been kind to gift me with because of my parents and upbringing. My family is very, very, spiritually inclined. And whenever I connected with people, because initially you're a stranger, so even in this international, global strategy and partnerships, I was not just the face of the company but face of the country as well. So they have really, really sort of, I sorry for the lack of word I'm saying, if they have really worshipped me, I'm very kind and thankful and grateful for the kind of love that I'm receiving across the borders. So I just want to continue doing that and not limit myself to one particular domain or career path. And let's see where it goes.
It will go in the best direction as
Thank
possible.
you.
So that is it for the professional round questions. We have now next the personal round question. And the very first question for that segment would be, beyond your professional life, what are some of the favorite hobbies or leisure activities that help you unwind?
Yeah, lot of them actually. And now that I'm not getting time, I really want to go back to them. First is I like singing stutis in Sanskrit. I literally could, by heart Gita ji by the age of 10 or 12 in my childhood, and I really want to go back and learn Sanskrit at an advanced level. It's the most beautiful language in the entire world, trust me, because I have literally learned quite a few languages as I was progressing in my career. And there is nothing beautiful than Sanskrit. So I really, really want to learn it at an advanced level, And as I said, I'm a spiritually inclined person, so I want to devote more time in, fulfilling those aspirations as well. Apart from that, I'm more on the creative side. So anything close to nature, not just organic, but anything close to nature, doing those kind of DIYs, gardening, plants, they all interest me. And that's how I sort of, de-stress myself.
So through our conversation, we have come to know that you are like quite dedicated and focused on your work. So how do you strike a balance between your career and personal and professional life to maintain your personal well-being?
Yeah, and actually, it's very important, mentally staying sound in all of this, chaos is not easy. And trust me, if you see a tree that is, rooted, that is grounded, that tree will flourish like anything. So, whatever you achieve in life, without family and without fulfilling your personal duties, everything is a failure. Trust me, this success is no success if you have not succeeded in your personal life. So it's not that professionally I've succeeded and personally I was like, completely denying all my duties. And I would just like to give an example. you know so I started my career in 2010. I was working till 2016. 2016 beginning onwards, I started feeling that this is not the time for me to be, staying outside of my hometown. My dadaji wasn't keeping well for his last 4 years from 2012 to 16. So I literally saw my father and my brother really, really, slogging themselves like anything. And trust me, being a woman, you also have to understand that men can't take a break. They can't even think of taking a break. This is a societal pressure on them as well. It's not just women and feminism, but imagine I can still think of taking a break Men can't. Once they start, they are devoted for their family throughout their life. They can't even think of, taking a break from their responsibilities and completely going away from it. So I saw my father and my brother completely into it, and that's when I decided that I have to be at home. There is somebody who needs to take care of my, family requirements personally, as well as somebody who can, take care of the bank and all the, outside requirements. So 2012 to 16, my grandfather wasn't keeping well, and my father was completely taking him to kidney failure and all those treatments in hospital. So I decided to take a break. I came home. I was like, this is the time my family needs me, and it was never said to me. That's another beautiful part of having the right family and being in right relationships that you cultivate over the years, that this was never said to me that, Rachi, you have to come home because this is when we need you. I could feel it. I took that decision, and trust me, neither I was getting married nor I was going on a maternity leave, because these were the only two reasons that existed, and still mostly exist for a woman also to take a break. But I was very clear that this is the time my family needs me. I went home. I remember I took 1 day relieving. I packed everything from Pune. I just came home. I stayed with my Dadaji like anything, 24 by 7. I did not sleep. I did all the seva, anything that I could do, and God was trying to give me the right kind of wisdom. Unfortunately, I lost him after 4 5 months, and this has turned out to be the biggest or the best decision in my life, because I don't have regrets now. I'm not in a stage wherein I can say that no, I was thinking of taking a break, but I could not. So this is also, very important. How are you managing your personal life? And for girls, it just not comes after marriage. Before marriage also, there is a lot that is happening around you. Be very, very cognizant of it. And as I said, I'm very compassionate towards people, so you understand the pain without even, somebody saying it. So this helps. And again, God was kind. I took a break of 1.5 years at that time as well, because after losing Dadaji, there was a big void in our family. uh, and I chose to stay back, take care of my parents, my brother, everybody, and then only I resumed my corporate career. And God has been kind again. I just want to quote this, that in 2017, when I was resuming, you won't believe I was not given a salary cut. I was in fact paid 30% more than what I was drawing last, before 1.5 year break, and that too without anybody checking my salary or CTC. So this is how God works in their own ways, and that is the whole reason I wanted to highlight this example, that never shy away from your responsibilities. You don't know, just be honest to anything and everything that you're doing, and rest everything will be taken care of. Be very honest with whatever you're doing. And as I keep on saying, this comes from my upbringing. I'm very thankful to my parents and my brother, who are my biggest support system, and this goes without saying. So these are the relationships that are so beautiful, that we do not have to say that this is what we are expecting from each other.
Absolutely. So also like as a dedicated and hardworking individual that we have been discussing again and again, how do you approach to the personal growth and self achievement? Do you have a special mantra for it?
Yeah, so as I said, that right from, this comes from your mother, the garb sanskar that we always say. So me and my brother are by birth very spiritually inclined, and God has been kind that we have that kind of vision or far-sightedness, that beyond this material world and 3D plane that we all see, there is something that lies ahead of it. It's your karmas, and how you're taking care of every relationship. Like, my parents sacrificed their marital life to take care of my grandparents and me and my brother. So we have seen it. Like, literally, I've seen the divinity in my house every day. So nobody had to teach me that this is something that you will have to do when your time comes. So this has come to me very, very naturally. As I said, garb sanskar, and because of my parents, karma, we always knew that there is something beyond this material aspects of living. And whatever you do, your deeds are your identity. It's not my job, my work is not my identity, my deeds, my character. If I'm honing my character every day, that will go with me. Financial abundance, spiritual abundance, mental health, physical well-being will follow. But if I've not worked on my character, and if I've not worked on right kind of deeds, everything is a waste.
It is, ma'am. So, uh, apart from the serious conversations we have been having again and again, so are there any books or podcasts or resources that have been had a very significant impact on your personal and professional development? Like you
See,
mentioned, you being very spiritual and into divinity and
yes,
also.
yes. And again, I just want to say that being spiritual is not, the logic doesn't exist. Of course, because if you see the Bhagavad Gita and all kinds of, literature, the scriptures, not just Bhagavad Gita, but Ved, Upanishad, Puran, if you see, these are all reference points, and these are stories to keep you going in your life, that you will encounter in any 3D world, right? So these are the things I always believe. I'll be very honest, I was never fond of reading books, because according to me, books are some author's opinion, and I don't want to learn from some author's opinion. I want to build my opinion first, and then comment on that, if this author's opinion is, aligning with me or not. So I have always been very, very wary of books in my initial stages of learning, when I was growing up, even doing my MBA and post that. I see a lot of people are reading books, which is very good, but unfortunately for me, I was like, I want to read the original, the source, the scriptures, from where is it coming from, because even today Bhagavad Gita has so many authors have their own interpretations, and it's like you have to build your own thought process to align with Bhagavad Gita, right? So that it helps, because everybody's soul journey and life journey is very different. I have not lived that particular author's life, nor that author has lived my life. So I really want to learn from the original and from the source, basically. So that has been my way of learning. And as I said, because I was fortunate enough to be in a family wherein my parents taught me more by their, deeds than any other, life experience also could have taught me, because I've seen them doing things without even expectation. Selfless is the word that I take from them. Do everything and forget everything without expecting anything. Just do it as your duty, and literally 90% of your problems don't exist, because you're not attaching yourself to the outcome, and you do not want to control the outcome. And then why will you be sad? So, your 90% of the life is sorted if you're selfless. And it's not just some gyan, but literally, if you have come to that stage, you will realize that you're so free from all these mental barriers and societal barriers. Of course, I always say never forget your roots. Because if you succeed without roots, you're an uprooted tree that feels like it has branches wide open, but it doesn't.
And that is like a very new perspective for me as well, and I'm sure for our audience as well. That
I'm glad.
yeah, the book you really said it like very right, that books are just opinions of other authors, and yeah, it is a very new way of viewing the entire concept of reading books and going through it and all.
Absolutely. Yeah,
uh,
I just also want to add on that, in this career accomplishment that we were talking about, when I penetrated that foreign land without even
yes.
visiting, I had my family before even visiting there, and literally the first gift that I gave to them was Bhagavad Gita, because they were so intrigued by my nature, or anything that you want to say. But they were like really wanted to know that what is it that has created me, or what is it that makes me think. So I will always be very, very proud of the Indian culture and our strong roots and my parents' upbringing and support system, that people are connecting with me and they want to learn more from our rich history and culture.
Absolutely. What do you enjoy doing on a typical weekend when you're not working or busy with the professional commitments?
Yeah, so as I said, I like staying close to nature. I'm not a person who goes out. I'm sorry, it might sound boring, but I'm not boring
No,
at all.
it's everybody has
It's
its
you.
own preference.
Yeah, yeah. So, a lot of people think that I don't go out. If I'm in Mumbai, people come to Mumbai and then they take me to the places that, we should visit. So I wait for people to, take me along with them. I'm still the same kind of person that I was in college when it comes to spending time at home. I really like to spend time with my parents, my family, my brother, my bhabhi, and, my dadaji, dadiji. Apart from that, I like staying close to nature, and the best thing that I like is going inwards. If you know yourself, you are in a blissful state. And I just want to quote a very relevant example when COVID hit us in 2020. Lot of my friends actually called me and I was counseling them because they were under depression. They were like that, without going out, without party, without drinking, without not seeing people, how can you stay alive? And I was like, because my source of happiness is not external, my source of happiness is internal, it comes from within, and I'm not selfish. There is a difference in
Yeah.
being selfless and selfish and self-centered. So because I was very very clear, for whatever reason, that the internal, you are the reason of your own happiness, nobody else. So I don't expect, I'm not dependent on party, or I'm not dependent on anything external to keep me happy. So it literally has been the case still, and I hardly go out. I stay close to nature, or I sing stutis, or I try to learn Sanskrit. If not, then I like to sketch. So there is a sketch that I prepared of Kanha ji and few others, not just Lord scriptures or those things, but I like to do calligraphy and sketching as well. So that's what I like to do.
Great. Anyway, we are like living in the era of Netflix and chill, so you do not have to feel guilty about it. I'd
No,
like,
and I've literally not
yeah.
watched a single web series. Entire COVID, people were
Yes,
like, "No,
so
you're watching all the web series," and I was like, "Dude, where is the time?" Because I just want to say that in COVID, I used to get up at 4 a.m. and till 5 hours, till 9 a.m., I used to be in my own zone. Puja, meditation, gardening, my own rituals, morning rituals. 9:30 back at work till 10, 12 hours, because COVID also encroached our personal lives. There was no boundary of
yes.
professional and personal time
Personal,
zones.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and then in the night you just sleep because so trust me, sorry, COVID was not the right thing to happen, but COVID phase was the right time because I could actually utilize that time staying at home, no traffic, no external disturbances, no micromanagement, no politics of office. You're just working. Everybody was just focused on their own things. So thankfully, that was a time in itself, and I still miss it.
I am myself like very fascinated with your discipline way of living, yeah, because it
Mm,
was like very difficult. A lot of us were like so much into like lying around that our routine was
yeah,
like a total disaster. So I
I
was
can
a part of
imagine.
your friends who had been must have been calling you saying ki what should do and what we should not.
So
Um,
now, thankfully, those times are not there, and I'm your friend, so
yeah,
we can
touch wood,
connect
touch wood.
anytime.
So, last question, ma'am. What advice would you give to young women aspiring to excel in male dominated industries, drawing from your own experiences?
Yeah, actually, I also don't like this word male dominated because sometimes facts are very, very hard to digest because my father and my brother are also the right kind of,
Yeah.
living examples of being the right kind of male. But yes, the pay structure doesn't come to women that well in any kind of industry that we are working, because most of the times it's a psychological thing, that why will women need money. For men it's because they are considered as the breadwinner. So I have always wondered that how come they are given so much without even asking for it, and I keep on asking, and I like, you have to fight for it, that money is equally important and it's gender agnostic. It's irrespective of the gender. I get paid for what I deserve. I'm working. Girls are far more sincere. Now, this is a very generic thing. Girls are far more sincere. Girls are far more, honest. Girls are far more, better in terms of communication, because we express. So when it comes to communication, people can relate to us psychologically better than a male counterpart, and still we are underpaid. So that sometimes does dampen your spirits, but apart from that, you have to make your mark, and you don't have to make your mark that I'm a feminist and I want to conquer a male dominated industry. See, women and men can coexist beautifully. So first of all, we shouldn't go into that false feminism, that why this and why
Yeah.
not this. Because if you're comparing yourself to anybody any which way, you're fighting a battle that you've already lost. You can't compare yourself to anybody. You have not lived their journey, nor have they lived your journey. And then comparing yourself in gender driven dynamics is another fallout, according to me. So just as I say, I'm answerable to my own soul. I do not work for bosses, or I do not work for a particular, people pleasing part of my job. I just work because I'm answerable to my own soul. Similarly, you just work without even thinking that the world is unfair. If you have to think positive that the world is fair. It is full of miracles. Why are we not thinking that? Yes, I know, things have been wrong. I myself have been wronged many a times every day in corporate life, sometimes in personal life as well. But I just look at the positive side, that life is full of miracles, and I will change it. I am the game changer. I want to quote an example here. When I changed my job from Deloitte to a very mediocre company, when I looked at their office, my soul cried. Like literally, my soul cried looking at that office and the situation of that office. And I was like, am I gonna regret this decision? And my father has always accompanied me to each and every company wherever I have joined. So he was like that. Why do you want to complain? If you think the company is small, make it big. Why are you making that limitation as an excuse that you are regretting and you have joined a very small sized organization? Make it big. You're meant for that. So be that game changer, be the voice. And you don't have to be the voice to prove a point. You just do your work selflessly without any expectations. People will notice it, but don't do it for any wrong reasons. Like, I want to punish a boy because women have been wronged many a times is not the way of dealing with the situation. So thankfully, my father has really, really been my role model. And my brother also, he's younger than me, but I get inspired from his discipline, his choice of words. He speaks very less, but whatever he speaks is bang on. And he's far more, if you were to picture him, you can deduct all the human weaknesses inside me and multiply all the divinity into 1,000 times, and that's my brother. So I get inspired by all these people who are like living legends in front of me.
Uh, I am short of words, but yeah, it was great hearing you. Last but
Yeah.
not the least, ma'am, we are done with the personal round questions and we have come to the rapid fire round. So it's a fun and we have to try to be very quick while answering the
Yeah,
question.
sure. Yeah, I
Okay.
get that.
So, okay.
Okay, bring it on.
The first is favorite marketing tool or software you have.
Favorite marketing tool or software? Oh my God, I think Instagram.
Okay.
I am not from social media world.
Best piece of advice you have ever received.
I think from my father, if be the game changer. And my grandfather was actually the living example of it.
Your go-to productivity hack.
Being smart, automate, and delegate.
Favorite travel destination, if you have any. I know you don't like traveling by now, but yeah, if you have
No, no,
any.
no. I like traveling. In fact, I like it a
Okay.
lot because it gives you the exposure. It's just
Okay.
that I don't go out on partying and all. But the favorite travel, I think it's London, that I really want to visit and stay.
Go-to comfort food.
Mm, माँ के हाथ का खाना, anything, gulab jamun, or any dal roti will also, but comfort food is घर का खाना.
Yes, bang on. Top three items on your bucket list.
Oh yes, I really want to settle in US. You know, it's like US is calling me big time now. I really want to travel across the globe. Like, I want to be in a day I want to be at least in two countries. That's the mark that I want to create. And third is, I want to do so much more for my parents. I still feel that, I've not yet been able to accomplish more on that, but yes, I want to do so much more for my parents.
Oh, okay. So all the best to that. And moving to the next question, morning person or a night owl?
With international, it's like, no time zone now. Otherwise, I'm a morning person.
Tea or a coffee person?
Tea, I'm tea positive.
Okay. Preferred way to de-stress after a long day.
Either I like to stay time with nature or I like to sing stutis in Sanskrit. It's my meditative zone. Even when I was traveling big time in Mumbai traffic, 1.5 hours, I used to sing my stutis because that's the best time to de-stress yourself and go into a therapy zone.
Oh, wow. So that is it for our today's conversation, ma'am. Thank you so much for being an amazing guest on our delightful journey.
My
We hope
pleasure.
you have had a very fantastic time, just as we did. Your participation in the show means a lot to us, and we are truly grateful for your time.
Thank
Um,
you. Thank you so much, Jolly. I hope this can help some people who are in need of the right kind of, inputs. I'm not that old enough to give
Absolutely, ma'am.
guidance or advice, but yeah,
I am very sure that our audience is very much delighted and has received so much insights from your inspirational journey that you have had in these 13 years and the way you live and you inspire others to live. So stay connected and keep an eye out for captivating episodes on YouTube, the Coffee Conversation Show. And for our audience, please, please, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We eagerly
yeah.
anticipate our next exciting conversation with a fresh guest speaker coming up very soon. So, thank you so much all for joining us and giving out your valuable time. Thank you so much, ma'am, once again. It
Thank you.
was
Thank you
a
so
very,
much.
very, very fun conversation, and we all are
I'm
like
glad.
very inspired from you. Thank you so much, ma'am.
I'm glad. I'm glad. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me here, and thank you to the wonderful audience for listening me. And thank you, God, for if I can be of any help to anybody. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Take care. Bye bye.
Bye.